Hey there. Welcome to another episode of Career Retrosepctives right here on the Super Review Show. I am joined by my two good friends, Kyle and Mike. What's going on, guys? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right.
Doing good. Ready to
Monday.
rock.
You might even say we've been on the run for a little while. No, but as the title of this episode suggests, we are going to talk. We spun the wheel last week, landed on my pick, and we're talking about Band on the Run from 1973. This album, believe it or not, turns 30. I can't even
50.
count. We're 50. Sorry, thank you. We're off to a terrible start. It's okay though. This album turns 50 years old later this year in 2023. Given that it was my pick, I'm going to go first on this one and just shed some love and light on it, and at least in my humble opinion and eyes and whatnot. This is one of my with what I'm about to say, Mike, to me like, God damn it, JT, of course you are. But yes, the title track is in my top 25 favorite songs of all time. Just want to put that out there. And somewhere Mike is already screaming at me. How dare you? Anyways, no, but I've always loved the Wings, the material from Wings, and like Paul McCartney, like post Beatles work as well. We touched on that like a little while ago. I forget what it was specifically. But this is like the fifth album by Paul McCartney post the Beatles breakup in 1973. To me, it's probably Wings' best album out of all the albums they released, like Venus and Mars or London Town. This is probably the one to beat, in my opinion, on just how good it is. In my opinion, it's definitely holds up to me over since they made it back in. God, they started recording it like 1972 or early 73 for December 73 release. To me, it's a timeless anthem, a timeless song, a timeless album. It has not every song is perfect, but to me, when you look at the overall like complete like feel of the songs, you can definitely feel they're like from that time period. I do like I will get into this specifically when we talk about the track listing, but like some of the reprises towards the end of the album, I like that a lot too. Like towards the end of the second to last song and at the very ending of the last song in the album, 1985. But yeah, I was excited to talk about this album because I don't know if you guys have picked up on it, but I'm trying to talk about albums that have anniversaries on our show for this year. Just want to put that out there. So we did River Dreams, you know. So yeah, but that's just my initial going into this of Band on the Run from 1973. Mike, what do you got? Do you have anything for Band on the Run at all? What are your initial impressions?
I definitely knew of this song and I knew of the band, that Paul McCartney was part of after the Beatles, and pretty much didn't know any other song beside that. So I was kind of coming to this really never listening to any of the material. I like that it just doesn't sound like a record that would be released in the 70s, like the early 70s. It sounds like totally like something from like or mid 60s to like early 60s. It really doesn't sound like what was happening in the 70s, like musically. Kind of funk and like things that were going on, like that were coming in the 73, 75, whatever. So I actually think that's really good because it's almost just refusing to kind of do something that's popular at the time and just kind of stay along that kind of Beatles feel to it, mixed with some other progressive elements of like, obviously the Beatles were always progressive with their song. This one really flexed its muscles, and yeah, I mean, it was definitely had some good tracks, some mid tracks, and yeah, I'll get more into it when we chat about that.
Awesome, and I have to ask, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I need to know.
Band on the Run, more like Kyle on the Run from this album. But no, I mean, you guys know me. I think I talked about it when we did the last Paul McCartney discussion we did. I love the Beatles, one of the all-time greats. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for the solo projects and individual projects of each member afterwards. Some acts work better when it's all the joint effort of all four minds, or for other bands as well. when all the minds are working together, putting their all like creative input in. Beatles is one of those bands. I struggle to get into any of the post Beatles work of any of the members, really. This was really no exception, although I thought it would be going into it. But I'll get into that song for song when we get into that. But that's pretty much where I stand. It didn't change my opinion all that much. It's pretty much exactly what I expected, and a little less, to be honest.
Oof.
Oh man. All right, let's get into it, shall we? Let's go over to the track listing for a second. So just and yeah, we're going to the track listing right now. So all right. From the start, top to bottom. Band on the Run, title track opens up the record. Jet, second song in. Bluebird, next song in. Mrs. Vanderbilt, Let Me Roll It. I never know how to pronounce this, but pneumonia. I think it's how you say it. It sounds like pneumonia, but it's pneumonia. Yeah, that's what it is. No words. And on the US release, it has Helen Wheels on there. And then the 9th song would be Picasso's Last Words, Drink to Me. And the last song on the record is 1985.
You need help, doing the pronunciation for Mamunia. They only say it 17
A
times.
million times.
Yeah, I mean, all you gotta do is just listen to the song, and then you know. So
exactly.
I mean, I'm hoping you heard that one. Hey,
I was so excited that we were going to talk about this record. I was like, I literally listened to this album like from Monday of last week to Monday of this week. I listened to it nonstop. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready to talk about Band on the Run. Oh my god, I was so ready to. Do you want me to go first in this one? Is that okay?
Yeah, it's you. Cheers.
All right, cool. Standout tracks for me personally. Band on the Run, an all-time encompassing like song in general, like one of the songs of the early 70s. Truthfully, in my opinion, like there's nothing else like it. There's nothing else quite like it since then or before then. It's an all-time great. That's why it's in my top 25 of all time personally. Jet, I think I look at Jet like the Beatles going glam in a certain sense. Like the Beatles were going to go like a glam route. That's the way I look at that one. Bluebird was kind of like nothing like Blackbird, but like just it's just a relaxing track, I guess you could say. Like just the imagery in it, I really like it. Mrs. Vanderbilt kind of it takes a little bit of a dip for me a little bit. Like I like it, but like, do I go back to listen to just Mrs. Vanderbilt? No. And Let Me Roll It to close out side one for me personally is I've seen Paul McCartney twice. He plays this song pretty much every show he's been in since like the 1990s. I want to say, I don't even know. He's played it a lot. It's kind of slow. It's kind of boring. I still like it, but it's not one of my favorites. But yet he plays it at every show. I don't know, Paul. Not sure why, but that's okay. Pneumonia opens up side two for me. Mike's gonna kill me for butchering that. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
It just is.
It's not okay. Don't listen to Mike. It's not okay.
Oh my god. Anyways, I like the song. I mean, it's got like this like guitar, this almost like a picking guitar vibe to it. Like I feel like they're like just playing like the really high notes on like an acoustic guitar. But do I go back to it? No. No Words and Helen Wheels, kind of like the same vibe there. Like, I mean, I listen to them, but only when I listen to the album from start to finish, I'll listen to those songs all the way through. But if I just have like a regular shuffle playlist of all these songs in there, I will probably stick to just the band on the Run, Jet, Picasso's Last Words, Drink to Me for whatever reason, because I think I like the reprise in it quite a bit more than I thought I did of both Jet and Mrs. Vanderbilt, but in a different tempo and a different within this one song. It's like it keeps going back to like the Jet, woo, and that whole the chorus of Jet and the chorus of Mrs. Vanderbilt as well. I like how that song really it has a lot of change-ups in there. I do like that one quite a bit. And to me, the last song, 1985, is a great way to close out the record. It really does show how you can end an album on a really a really bombastic note. Like I know we talked to Nimrod with Green Day and how that last song, I forget the name of it, whatever it was. Kyle, you're gonna have to correct me on that. But
Prosthetic head.
yeah, prosthetic head. Thank
Yep.
you. They could have ended on Good Riddance, but they did not end it on that. They ended it on prosthetic head, which I applaud for, and that worked for that album too. And for this album, I felt like the big buildup at the very end of 1985 really worked for me. Listening to it over and over again, I'm like, man, I can't wait to listen to like those opening notes, and then get into those chords, get into that vibe of just like how it just closed out the record on such a big note, and you're like, wow, I just listened to that. I got that experience personally listening to it all the way through, both on Spotify and on vinyl. Yes, I'm that crazy, I know. But yeah, so for me, the album starts off very strong with Band on the Run and Jet, but then it kind of goes a little like it takes like a hill, not necessarily like a sharp turn up and down, a big dip or not. But I like the first two songs the most, Band on the Run and Jet, and I do like the last two actually a lot more, as well, almost just as much. Picasso's Last Birds and 1985. Those are two great tracks for me, and plus Paul McCartney plays 1985 a lot too, so which is nice. But yeah, that's where I'm standing on that. So the track 1, track 2, track 9 and 10. That's where I'm at. Those are my standout tracks, and the tracks that really get me personally going, and have me like, if I want to listen to like 70s Paul McCartney and Beatles, Wings and whatnot, I go back to those tracks mainly. That's just me. But yeah, Mike, what do you got?
Yes. So this was an interesting and like probably the definition of front loaded albums I think like ever have to say, like, we've listened to. Like, literally for me, you could take Let Me Roll It, put it on side 2, and take No Words on side 1, and you'd have a perfect, like, for me, like, album that has like, so not too many songs that I care to skip past. Like, I would listen to every one of them and be happy with them. And then side 2, the Mamunya, Gaz's Last Word, 1985. I didn't even listen to Helen Wheels. I don't know if that was on the one that I listened to.
It wasn't on the one I
what.
listened to.
Yeah, I didn't even hear that, so I'm kind of interested to go back and listen to it. And, but like, none of those songs stuck out to me.
Okay.
What?
Helen Wheels is on Spotify. I don't know if Kyle.
Okay.
It wasn't on the Spotify version I listened to.
Really?
Yeah, I listened to the standard version on Spotify. The 2010 remaster was not there.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be on another version on Spotify. I'm pretty sure they have like 3 or so.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that.
Yeah, well, just none of those songs really stuck out to me as anything that really captured my attention, but the rest of them were actually pretty good. So I'll just kind of run down it. Band on the Run, 10 out of 10. Perfect example of a song that changes up in many different directions, stays consistent. Great chorus, utilizes good songwriting to build a good song. Love the acoustic guitar that drives the song forward along, in the background. Kind of reminds me of ELO. It's just that typical Beatles kind of feel to it. Just a great song. Little repetitive on the chorus, but I mean, it's still a classic song. 10 out of 10. Then we come down to Jet. It's an 8.5 for me. It really benefits from the horns, the pianos, the orchestra accompaniment on the background. Utilizes many different musical voices to build the sound. Chorus seems a little underdeveloped, which kind of drove it down for me, but short and to the point. I like the feel of it. It's a good one. Now, a song that I originally wasn't so keen on, but as I began to listen to it, I really started enjoying it more, was Bluebird. The guitar in the background just adds this melancholy kind of like, and almost kind of reminds me of a medieval feel to it at times, with like some of the guitar in the background, and like, but then also it gives me that sitting by the ocean, relaxing kind of like, just paints that kind of picture. And then the sax that comes in for this is awesome. Like, it really creates an atmosphere. I wish this changed up some more from what it offered, but for what it is, I give it an 8 out of 10. So we're cruising high here. And then 10 out of 10. I love the song, and I was kind of, and I know Kyle, and what's surprising.
I didn't say anything yet.
I was surprised to see JT didn't like this one either when he said it took a dip. For me, I really enjoy this song. The bass sticks out as I love it almost kind of reminds me of Uriah Heep a little bit. The bass is kind of just kind of like I like like this kind of momentum of the song. I love the elements of the sax to it as well. Beautiful guitars really adds the harmony towards the middle. That I love that catchy oh I just love that, dude. It just like this song was like definitely gonna make it on one of my playlists. Like definitely going to be one of those songs that I just really enjoy. And I love the orchestra, that they had in it. Once again, it's gonna have an ELO comparison here. And then we kind of come to Let Me Roll It, which was where it kind of took a nosedive for me. This song is a repetitive bluesy riff in it that needs to change, and it doesn't. And it strikes the ear kind of like, you want to hear something different, but it just keeps doing the same thing through the whole song. And it kind of drives me nuts. Like it could be so much better if you just change that one part. Like, it really would. If you just took that riff and just made it change after one musical sentence to the next, and then maybe it could come back or whatever, it really would improve the song. But it just kind of did the same thing. I gave it a 6 out of 10 just because it still was, a decent song, but I really probably could go to a 5. But I was kind of like, I do admit I tend to be a little more lenient on artists who are like legendary, that put out songs at the time period that they do. In the 73, it's still kind of like a lot of innovations are being done with like blues mixed in with other styles of music. So then we come to Mamunia. Like, yeah, this one was just another kind of forgettable song for me. It kind of has a folky feel to it. It needs a change of gear, a pace to kind of liven it up. I'll give it some elements to liven it up. It's pretty of a traditional just song composition, which is kind of like a trend on this album. 6.5 for me. I could really go to a 6 on that. And then we come down to No Words. I actually really warmed up to this song as well. Really love the guitar, adds a melodical element, cool atmosphere. The falsetto vocals in it were kind of something different. It's too freaking short though. Holy crap, this song was short, and I wanted it to be longer for sure. Picasso's Last Words, same thing, follows the same vein, footsteps of Band on the Run, like where it's changing up in different directions and a progressive kind of feel to it. But ultimately, it did not have the same impact. Chorus isn't as captivating. Pacing and speed of the song does not do it any favors. It kind of does that playing little pieces of all the rest of the songs, but it really just didn't, do anything major. So, but it was still entertaining and, a little repetitive, definitely repetitive. So 7 out of 10, 1985. It's got a 6.5. It's just kind of, actually, I kind of disagree with you. I felt this was not a good end of the album. It really didn't bring me anything, but just kind of like, it didn't capitalize on its introduction musically. Like it has an intro and like a intro to the song, and it kind of what it offers in the beginning, it really needs to go somewhere else, and it just kind of doesn't it doesn't really follow through with that. It just kind of just doesn't, is unable to move forward. So yeah, it was just kind of 6.5. So yeah, for me, top songs: Band on the Run, Mrs. Vanderbilt. Songs that were my least favorite: Let Me Roll It, and probably I would say 1985 or Mamunia. Those 3 were not too, I was not too big on those. So yeah.
Kyle, what do you got?
All right, let's go for it. Okay, gonna start with one of my probably most unpopular opinions in regard to music. Maybe one of the only people that holds this opinion. Band on the Run is an incredibly overrated song. There, I said it. It's not a bad song by any means. I'll start off, it's a 7 out of 10. I'm not huge into the first half of it. I do like that it has all the change ups throughout. I agree with you on that, Mike. Mm-hmm. But change ups to me doesn't equal good. I mean, as you could probably already tell from past reviews we've done on the show, this is not my favorite time period for music by any stretch. not huge into the sounds. I do like the second, the back half of the song I think is really solid, really good. Doesn't fully make up for the first half for me. 7 out of 10. Jet, nothing special, just kind of not for me on the sound. 6 out of 10. Bluebird, though, I enjoy this one. Favorite song on the album. From the first time I heard it, and it continued to stand out to me. I do wish that it wasn't as repetitive. That brought it down. So, 7.5. I like it has a more experimental tone of some more like unconventional instruments brought in. Like you hear like the guiro scraping in the background, which I like. The saxophone section absolutely kills it. But the repetitiveness,
Guiro scraping,
the guiro.
Oh, I thought
guiro is
Spiro was scraping. Spiro's a Pokemon.
You don't know what a guiro is, Mike? Go look it up.
No,
it's a little fish-looking instrument with a little stiffy scrape across it.
Oh, yes, I know you're talking about.
Yep. But yeah, so again, one of the big things on this record for me is the repetitiveness of the choruses on almost every track. But yeah, if there's a little less repetitive, did a little bit more, could have gone a bit higher, but I have to stick with 7.5. And here's where the album takes a huge dip in quality for me. This song, I completely disagree, Mike. I hate those ho, hey ho. I hate
love that
with a passion. I could not stand it. Upon like subsequent listens, I had to skip through the song because it just annoyed the crap out of me. 4 out of 10. And then we come to the absolute worst piece of garbage on this record. Why he plays this live, JT, I could not begin to tell you. That guitar riff that is ever present throughout the entire thing and doesn't change up a single damn time is infuriating. Hearing almost 5 minutes of that same guitar riff is annoying as hell. They couldn't add any flourish. All they had to do is change the ending note of the riff just once per like sequence that they did, and it would have been fine.
Yeah,
because I actually like that it has. Yeah, I like that it actually has a more like not heavy, but a more like distorted tone to it, and that could have worked. But instead of making like a couple of flourishes to it, like little improvisation things throughout to keep it interesting, he's like, "Now we're just gonna copy paste the same thing throughout." And the vocal effects on this are horrendous. Paul McCartney is an excellent vocalist. I love the tone of his voice, but man, this was rough. Drowned out in the vocal effects. 3 out of 10. Couldn't stand this one. Mamunia doesn't get much better. Just gonna be honest. The lyrics aren't my style on here, with the water and the clouds feeding to the stream, who then feeds the ocean. And Christ, no, not for me. The verses aren't bad. I think the verses are a bit enjoyable. Can't stand the chorus. Again, too repetitive. 4 out of 10. No words. I agree with you here, Mike. I like this song. If it was longer, I could have given it a little bit higher. 6 out of 10 for me. Jesus. Screw the spring. I hate the springtime.
Tab it out, bro. Tab it out.
But yeah, this is the most Beatles-esque of any of the songs on here. But it misses the harmonies of having all 4 of them around. It could have been a little bit higher if it was a little bit longer. 6 out of 10. And then we get to one of the most annoying things for me on here, like not musically speaking, but this song, Picasso's Last Words, started incredibly strong. And then it just devolved into repeating the Drink to Me chorus for so long. And then they reprised 2 of my least favorite parts of the album. So 5 out of 10 of all the things they could have brought back. No.
Hey, come on, man. I'm getting back into that.
And Mike, I agree with you on this next one too. So that was a 5 out of 10. I agree with you on this next one too. I don't think this is a great way to end the record. I think it would have been better to end it on Picasso's Last Words. Maybe just flip-flop the 2. Really don't like the vocals on this one. They don't hit for me. They sound odd and a little bit strained at times. It's just an okay track. It's not like offensively bad, but I wouldn't say it's good. 5 out of 10. I mean, this is a pretty rough listen for me, not gonna lie to you. outside of those like 3 tracks and no words, it was pretty brutal to get through.
I'm surprised that Spotify didn't have Hell on Wheels on there.
I know.
Maybe it's only it's only on the LP. I have no idea, but I have to check. Because I was just listening to it
tell
on
you right now.
Yeah, if you don't mind. I was just listening to it on LP, and I was like, oh, there's 10 tracks on the album. I don't know why they didn't put it on Spotify. That's weird. So I don't know. That's beyond me. So we've gone through our track listing of
It's on Spotify, but it's not on the actual album.
Really?
They have it on there in the Band on the Run archive collection, which has like an hour and 15 minutes of stuff on it.
Oh my god. Wow. All right. Well, you heard it here first. You heard it here first, folks. That's kind of where our track listing reviews and our standout tracks and whatnot from this album go to. Is that it? Can we go to our rating now? Are we good? Anything else?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, cool. Hold on. Let's see. So I'll go first again. So going into this, I was very excited. As most of you could tell. I really wanted to I'm glad we put this on the wheel because it's always good to hear different opinions. Like I'm not saying you, Kyle or Mike, I'm just saying you, the listener, might think that, hey, you might think, oh my God, this record or this artist is like the greatest thing ever. And also you might think that, and the person standing right next to you might think that it's the worst conceivable thing known to man. It's just the truth. So I was going into this discussion tonight about saying, hey, I'm excited to talk about this record. I've always liked the record personally. I knew Mike would like some of it. I wasn't sure how. I knew Mike would like some. I don't know how much he would like though personally. And Kyle, I was like, it's gonna be a hit or miss. I'm just not sure what's gonna happen. but
sorry.
Oh,
I had an outburst there. My bad. I'm sorry.
It's all right. But I will say though, music is all art, regardless of if it's music, movies, television, books, or art, is subjective, and that's fine. That's what makes the world go round. We all have different opinions, and we share them, and that's how they are. That's how the world is. And I feel like tonight picking Band on the Run was a good example of how I thought, like there were certain elements in this album that like Queen might have picked up on, or ELO might have picked up on in the 70s and whatnot. And you might even like Supertramp with like some synthesizers, and they might have picked up on that stuff like that too. But yeah, for me, this is a really solid record overall. I liked it a lot personally. Listening to it over and over again, it felt kind of like repetitive for me at some points because I'm like, yes, I'm getting ready for my stream on Monday. I'm getting ready. But at the same time, like I'm getting a little tired of listening to the same thing over and over again, but that's okay. Rating wise, I'm going to give this a solid 7.75 out of 10. It's not, after listening to it more and more and more, I realized that it could just be because I listened to it so much over the past week again, the whole album started to diminish and whatnot. But at the same time, it does hold up as a record. It holds up in my eyes. It holds up since the 70s, 50 years ago now. My God, it holds up since then. And Paul McCartney does play a lot of these songs live. I mean, I don't know why he plays I don't know why he plays "Let Me Roll It" as much as he does. He really should take that one out. It's just it should be put on the back burner and then burnt at this point. So I don't understand. But Paul, if you're listening to us, don't do that one again. We're sorry, but just don't do that. Play Jet more often. I don't know, whatever. But anyways, besides the point, that I'm going to 7.75 out of 10 for this record. I enjoyed it. I enjoy listening to it as a complete statement, like not just as a collection of songs, but as an album with meaning to me, at least with this as like not quite a statement record per se, but just like here's a collection of songs that's really, really strong in my eyes, and I wanted to share it with them. So that's why I put 7.75. That's just me. Mike, what do you got for your rating?
And I thought you'd be way higher than that, JT. You're like, I'm so excited for this album. 7.75. It's like,
Well,
thought you were
Yeah, I
gonna
thought we were
be
going to be going in 9 territory for JT here.
Yeah.
No. I thought, though, that's the thing. I thought so too. But the more I listened to it, I said, it holds up, but doesn't hold up as much as other things I've heard. And as passionate as I am about like the title track or Jet, as passionate as I am about those 2 songs, the rest of the album does not hold up as much as I thought it was going to. Also, this is my first listen to it all the way through in like years, literally about 4 or 5 years. I've not listened to this record all the way through for a long time. And did it hold up for the second time over? Not quite as much. I mean, I would. You guys say 8 or 9. I would not say 8 or 9 for this. I mean, some people would, but I would say like it's for some people it's like the greatest thing since like Let It Be the song. You know what I mean? Like it's obviously not that, but it's a strong record, but it's not as strong as I remember. That's why I'm going with a 7.75. That's me. That's me personally, though. But Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, so for me, there's a little repetition on it that hurts. It also really does fall off a cliff, like from the first side to like the end. I still have to listen to Hell on Wheels, so like to see how that kind of pans out. But I mean, ultimately, it's got some like I was saying, it does have some stuff that sounds like from the 70s, but then like Bluebird doesn't sound like it's from the 70s. Let Me Roll, it doesn't. A lot of the other song, it really does have like it changes kind of. I mean, Mrs. Vanderbilt has a very unique kind of sound to it. It's definitely one of those albums that I give extra credit to because it's not it's keeping the old style, kind of mixing in some elements of the new. So for me, this was a 6.5. Could be a 7. I'm sitting somewhere in between that area because of some of the repetition, because of like some of those songs not having some strong kind of carrying. So we're gonna go with 6.5. But I could see myself moving to a 7 through time and multiple listens. But for now I'll stick at a 6.5. And it's still good. It's still entertaining. Still has some legendary song on it. Band on the Run, and then Mrs. Vanderbilt, one of my new favorites that I'm going to have Kyle listen to in car trips and rides, and he's really going to enjoy that. So, Kyle, this one's for you.
I'll bring my earplugs.
There you go. I'll drill holes in them so they don't work. But anyway, go ahead. And wait, still better than Underclass Hero. But anyway, go ahead.
Whoa, throwing shade.
Yeah, Daddy, not even close. This album belongs in the trash compared to that.
Oh my God, I just said that, Mike.
Rather listen to Jordy.
Oh,
no, I wouldn't go that far. But no, so this, to me, I agree with Mike. Repetition on here really brings a lot of it down for me. I will disagree with JT a bit here in that I don't think the album holds up, especially as a whole. I think it does sound very dated, very much a product of its time, and even before then. Production wise, even like the 2010 remaster didn't really do much to kind of update the sound or production all too well. But it is what it is. Band on the Run is a legendary song. It's just not really for me. If you like this kind of sound, you'll probably like this a lot. I don't. So for me, it's a 5.25. I've been in quite the rut for the past month of all the albums that we have covered. I think I've been hovering around the same pretty low scores for all of them. But villain. I am the villain today.
Boo that man. Boo. I wish we could have like someone off camera that we have throw junk and like garbage at you, and you're just like, we really gotta hire some like a crew to like make this happen, to give some effect to like being the villain. Like you should be banana peel should be thrown at you and stuff. Yeah.
Well, for me, I think that there was just a lot of missed opportunity on the album. A lot of songs that I'm listening to that I'm like, oh, if it went here or it did this, it would be much better. Yeah. Like again, if No Words was a little bit longer, would have been a song that'd probably make my rotations, but it wasn't. It just kind of peters out at the end. Those Hey Ho's are horrendous. Mike, I know you love it, but That
love it.
takes so much
Uh,
away.
I love it, dude.
I think one thing we
Amazing.
can all agree on is that this is an entirely front-loaded record.
Yes, very so. Yeah, it's definitely like I could have just taken that. You take one song off the other one, and the rest of them I would really wouldn't miss if they, But
Could have made a
definitely,
solid EP out of it.
yeah, exactly. So we're not rolling any wheels tonight. We're doing we have our planned releases for next week.
Yeah,
right?
next week is which one?
Fighters or wait.
I don't think we decided it's either Foo Fighters or Avenged Sevenfold.
You want to do the Foo Fighters since it already came out?
They both already came out.
Oh no!
They
Oh
came
my
out
God!
the same day.
Why don't we do Foo Fighters next week, and then we'll do
Then we'll do
we
Avenged Sevenfold the week after.
yeah. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Sweet, awesome. Well, listen, we want to thank you all for watching, listening, however you enjoyed us tonight. Obviously, many different opinions on this one, and that's all good and all fine and dandy, as they say. I want to thank Colin and Mike for joining us, joining me as always for doing these crew retrospective reviews and whatnot. Yeah, so thanks again, guys. And listen, this guy down here has a great podcast that I believe he just finished up called Q&A Podcast. I might be wrong about that, but finishing up, but I think he did. Did you?
Got 2 more episodes. This week's episode that just came out about recounting prom stories, and next week is the season finale, and we'll be back in July or August.
You're missing out if you have not tuned in to the Q&A podcast. They
You
do
sure
so
are.
they they do so much good work over there. I can't even emphasize it enough. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, listening, however you enjoyed us. Tune into Cobb's podcast. We'll see you guys next week for the Foo Fighters. Yeah, so stay safe, take care,
And this is Mike saying, "Hey ho, out." All
And
right.
this is Mike getting kicked out.
Mike's getting kicked out of the chat.
Hey ho. All right. Hey
All
ho
right.
to you too,
All
sir.
right.
All right.
Stay safe, take care. We'll see you guys next time, and